Okay. Now it's interesting because I've probably done almost 50 interviews with acts from the 90s, and you mentioned your management company, and I do wonder, when you were getting into the industry, did you guys go with any knowledge about the music industry and the business side of music? Or, so you guys are talented singers, but then it is an industry that has publishing and money and royalties and everything. How much of that did you know beforehand and learn about? And
we knew nothing. And till we met Luther, and Luther was like, "Yo, it's 100%." He loved the music business, but he said it's about 10% talent and vocals and 90% politics and music. And that was kind of threw us off a little bit. We had no idea how things worked back then. And I think we made a mistake by just letting our management handle it and not teach us the business as we went along, because we were all new. Yeah. So we just trusted them. And, we clashed and we moved on to other management companies, but I still talk to my manager, Adele. Miles has passed away, but Adele Bayan is he's still family to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of what he said, because we felt like we were done wrong in a few places that we didn't agree. Like, why didn't y'all tell us this was going on or that was going on? He said, "You were my first group. I really didn't know what I was doing either." Oh. As I went along, and that struck me as just being really honest, Yeah. So
how long did it take before you learned? Because, before you understood about all the points and only
yesterday. I'm ashamed to say that I'm just in the last, seriously, maybe since I got sober, put it that way. I'm in a few months, I will have been sober for 3 years. Wow. And so when I got sober, I started having to be responsible, which kind of sucks a little bit. But attention to my business and my music. And my wife, she is a very intelligent woman. And she is learning a lot about the business and teaching me. And so we're kind of a team. A lot of stuff to straighten out royalty wise. There's a lot of things to straighten out. I will say we were really naive and we made a mistake by not paying attention to your business. That would be one of the first things we would tell a young artist coming out: pay attention to your business.
Yeah. It is something that every one of my guests have said, that in the 90s, even I interviewed Dalvin from Jodeci, yeah. and I asked him, how much of the business did you know, and he said zero. That all they were doing is making the music, and then they realized, okay, we're making all this music, we're selling out everywhere, but our bank accounts aren't reflecting our success.
That was us too. We lived on the road. We did shows, at least 4 nights a week. Most of the time it was 5 nights a week. We were either on a bus or a plane, and we were, we were away from home for over 2 years, just touring everywhere. And we started wondering the same things. And that's why at the end, we ended up having to have some receipts checked out and stuff like that on the road. We thought it was a little unnecessary when we found out our tour manager was living in the presidential suite at every. And this guy had jewelry dripping and fur coat, and Charlie Stone. And he was a funny guy, but he was also kind of sneaky. And let's just say that very first tour that we did, the very first look into it was $3,000 or $300,000 that had not been accounted for, that just kind of disappeared into the wind. And so I don't know if it was the presidential suites or somebody. The money was not going all to us. It was going to management first, and then us. An accountant tried to sit down with me, invited me to lunch. He represented the whole group, and our management company introduced us to him because he did Kool in the Gangs.
Okay.
He tells me, "Bryan, you need to pay attention to your business." And I think he was trying to tell me, like what you're saying now, like there's some things going on you need to pay attention to. And he had this meeting with me, and I went back and told the guys, and then one of them told my management company that he told me I needed to pay attention, and they fired him.
Oh.
And then so sneaky stuff. Yeah. In that business, if you don't pay attention, you're gonna get got, you know.
Yeah, but you know, one of the things that you know, and one of the things that we've learned, that it is not something that we can blame you guys, because as much as you can reflect on it now, none of us understand what it's like at 17, 18 to be thrust in front of the world. Your core love is to sing and perform and entertain. And there's also hope that you have people who are going to be taking care of the money and the taxes and all that stuff. And you don't have to, because it's a quite a, I can imagine how challenging it can be to have to be on stage to sing, then have to go check your bank accounts and check all this stuff. So
you got to make sure that these people that you have that are working on your behalf have documentation to show where everything is coming in from and where it's going. We didn't know that. You've got to pay attention to the people that are working for you. But when you're young and you just wanted, you know, a record deal, you know, that's. But now in a perfect world, if you've got family or you've got people that work with you that you can trust, we looked at, hey, Ace, he plays keys and guitar. He does his thing. He stays in his lane. I had what I had, and I stayed in my lane. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we just thought we could trust one another, and we trusted our management team and our accountants the most. And years after that, Vernon Brown, I don't know if you've heard that name before, but he was an accountant, and he sold all of us $1 million life insurance policies that never existed, but we were paying lots of money for. And there was a class action lawsuit against that guy. That's the kind of people, kind of accountants that we were being introduced to, and repeatedly, one after another. Yeah. So days off, he was our, you know, he was the big dog. You know, he represents the Eagles. He's the one that owned and ran Giant Records, and there's books out about him.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, and I said that's always the sad part of the industry, that our audience have really had to really take with sadness, because we never knew. Because as fans, all we see is when we see you guys in music videos, we see you guys on stage and on tour, and you guys always seem happy. So to us, everything's fine. It's not until left at the TLC at the Grammys said, "Oh, we're broke. We've just sold 10 million," that we were like, "What? That doesn't make sense." And
we wanted to follow the footsteps. When that happened, we told ourselves, because we talked to them, we've done shows and toured with them as well, and we actually sang some songs together on one of the Jermaine Jackson album is when I met them. And when they did that, I think they did it not just to get out of a bunch of situations, but to get away from that record label or whatever it was that there was something they were trying to do that was more than just
their management company.
Yeah. And so we wanted to do the same thing, or I shouldn't say we, I'm sorry. I wanted to do that. I was like, that's what we should do. Because we're in some, you know, there were loans being taken out from the record label that we were paying back that we knew nothing about. $300,000 here, a couple hundred, 150,000, like loans that people weren't telling us they were taking from the labels. We had to pay those back out of our royalties. Like, that kind of stuff is nuts. The one good thing about it, it's good to know, well, it's kind of a bittersweet thing that we weren't the only ones going through it. You know, James Brown, some of these other cats out there that gave their all and really never saw any of their money until after. I'm hoping and praying for that kind of day to come for some of these people in the 90s. And it's because I think the 90s was a really unique era. Yeah. It was colorblind. Didn't matter what color you were, where you were from. Yeah. If you had hey, let me hear it. Let's party. Let's hang out to, you know, it didn't matter. Music like joined everyone back then. Yeah. Like, it was about having fun. It wasn't talking about how much I got and how much stuff I can sling, and you know what I'm saying? It was just really good music.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see those people get treated right, you know, like see some of that money.
Yeah, you know, as I said, most of the 90s artists that we've spoken to have said the same thing. In fact, 112 said, "Hey, it was if you in the 90s, it was pretty much part of the deal that you get taken advantage of and stuff and learning to, and which is not great. But for us, it was shocking because, as I said, if you played football or baseball or basketball, you sign a contract and your team doesn't take your salary. They pay your salary, take care of you so you can perform. It's only the music industry where they don't treat they don't treat you the same with the same dignity and stuff.
You know what, the nicest car I drove after we got our deal and started our tour, and I thought I was big dog, was a Grand Cherokee. I had a drive Grand Cherokee and I was good.
Yeah.
Wasn't until things started happening like MTV Cribs and the car shows when people are showing off the stuff they have, and you're comparing record sales with this group or this artist with your record sales and going, I never could afford that house. Why? What's going on? Like something's going, and it's hard. It's really hard, man, to take, because literally my wife for how many years? 12, 15, like it's still a mess. Still straightening it out, but the good news is that we are closer than ever to just pull the trigger on everything and expose some things, at least in our circle. And I think it might be something that helps some other people from that time. You know what I'm saying? For years we worked on it.
Yeah. So I mean, after you know, you come out with Sex You Up and it blows up. Now, was there an issue with Betty Wright? Did she come after you guys saying that you took us?
I think she came after us originally, but she had to go back after Dr. Freeze, because Dr. sampled her record and not told us he sampled the record.
Okay.
We know there was a sample from her until the lawsuit papers came. We were like, what? Tell us, you know. But guess who had to pay that bill? We did.
What?
Yeah. Yep. We had to pay for that to get straightened out, but we didn't do it.
Wow. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.